Hey everybody, here's your November 2022 Ottawa Real Estate Market update. So I got my stats written out here. I'll read them to you and then I'll tell you what it means to me, what I think it should mean to you. So in October 2022, we sold a total of 758 residential properties in Ottawa. That's 40% fewer sales than October of last year. We also sold 229 condos. That's 44% fewer sales than we saw in October of last year for condos. So the trend of very low sales volume compared to previous years continues. It's something we've seen for a little while now. We took about the same amount of new listings, give or take, in October of this year as we did in last year as well. So we're bringing about the same amount of inventory to market, but we're selling way less of it. We're seeing the total number of homes and condos for sale increase as well. So small silver lining in all this is if you're a buyer, you have a lot more choice and you have a lot more time now than you did a few months ago where the pace was just kind of insane and everything was selling right away. The average price of a condo last month was $446,000, give or take. That's about 9% higher than last year. The average price of a freehold home sold last month in October was $678,000, give or take. That's 5% lower than October of 2021. So what we're seeing out there, I'm done with these, get rid of them. I just hit my camera guy right in the head. Sorry, man. So what we're seeing out there is that so what we're seeing right now is that it's very hard to bring buyers to actually make an offer on a property. Buyers will see a property that they love, but they're not quite ready to pull the trigger because they're seeing prices come down every month and they're seeing rates go up and they're afraid of that too. What I would tell you if you are a buyer and you're kind of getting into that mindset of trying to time the market and maybe if I wait, I'll get it for a better price, is I would remind you, and I've said this in past videos, that the main pressure, the main reason we're seeing prices come down is because interest rates are going up. And so unless you're a cash buyer, right, if you're actually planning on financing the property, you're putting a mortgage on it, you're not really winning, or at least we haven't seen a situation yet where you're really winning by waiting because you're paying less for the house, but your mortgage is actually costing you the same, if not more, because of the higher rate. The other thing is when it comes to time in the market, it's always a risky game. Right now, we still overall have a low supply of housing in Ottawa when we compare it to the population that we have in the city. And housing is necessary, right? Everybody needs somewhere to live. So what these high interest rates have done is they've essentially taken the challenge, the big challenge of finding housing away from buyers, and they've shifted it to renters, right? We're seeing a real lack of rental supply right now. We're seeing rental rates shoot up. And so we've really just passed the buck from buyers to renters. When interest rates start coming down again, it's a pretty safe bet to say that the market's gonna take off again. And so if you're sitting on the sidelines trying to time it just right and you miss and the market shoots up again, you may have to go rent or your buying power may come way down. We saw it happen in 2020 and we saw it happen in 2021. Anyone who was trying to time the market in those years missed by a lot and probably got caught up in some pretty tough conditions for buyers. So if you find a home you like, you're planning on being there 5 to 10 years, I wouldn't worry too much about what's happening with prices in the short term. Another big opportunity that I'm seeing in this market is for move-up buyers. A move-up buyer is someone who already owns a home and they're looking to get into kind of like the dream home, the bigger house. They want to go from a townhouse to a detached home. They maybe want to move to a more expensive neighborhood or just a nicer home within their neighborhood. When prices come down, the gap between what you have and what you want also comes down. Right? So I'll give you a quick example. I'm making these numbers, I'm picking them out of thin air, but let's say you own a home that's worth $800,000. And let's say your dream home is $1.4 million. There's a $600,000 gap, right? So meaning to move from your current home to your dream home, you'd have to find another $600K or borrow most likely another $600K from the bank. If prices come down 20%, then yeah, your $800,000 home goes down to about $640,000. So you lose some money there, but your dream home goes from 1.4 to 1.12 million. And the gap between your imaginary home and your imaginary dream home is now $480,000. You've actually closed the gap by 120K. In other words, you can make that same move now and it's only costing you $480K more instead of $600,000 more. So if you're someone who is thinking about moving up, these conditions are actually better than a really hot market. Yes, in a hot market, you probably would have sold your house for a record on the street and your agent would have posted all about it on social media, new record, but the house you would have paid would have probably also been a record price and that seller's agent would have posted all about it on their social media. So now you have an opportunity to actually buy in a much calmer environment for a buyer. You can actually kind of sleep on it and have conditions in your offer, but also again, the gap between what you have and what you want is closing. So it's not so bad. The other thing I would advise buyers right now who are thinking of making that move is it's not a bad idea to get your property on the market before you buy. In the past, when the market was hot, we were always saying buy before you sell. Right now, I think it makes sense to kind of have some overlap on both. Have your property on the market and start your shopping, you know, get familiar and try to time it. It's a little trickier now because your property is probably going to take a little longer to sell. It's almost for sure going to take a little longer to sell than it did in March or April. But that's an opportunity I'm seeing. The other thing with move-up buyers is if you have an existing home, chances are you've locked in at a mortgage rate that's a lot lower than what you're getting today. There's usually the possibility of taking that mortgage and porting it over to your new home and then just topping up, right? So when you do that, you get to blend your old rate and the new rate, so your ultimate rate ends up being a little lower than if you're getting the whole mortgage right now at today's rates. One last thing I'll tell you, for sellers, another opportunity. If you are selling a home and you're not thinking of buying another home right away, you're selling for whatever reason, if you have an existing mortgage on that property that is locked in at a lower rate than what the banks are offering right now, and you have the option of transferring that mortgage to the new buyer, that's a huge opportunity, right? If you're selling like a Minto Manhattan townhouse in Orleans, chances are you're like one of 20 of those types of homes that are on the market. They all kind of look the same. They're all kind of priced the same. They all have the same features. But if you've got 3 years left on your mortgage at 2.4% and you're able to transfer that mortgage to the buyer, that's something that I would be advertising in the listing, right? Assumable mortgage for whatever, $400,000 at 2.4%. That's a huge selling feature. It allows you to distinguish yourself from the other people that are selling the same product, because if I buy yours, I get a really nice low mortgage for the first $400K in this example of the purchase price. So something to think about. Talk to your bank. If you have a mortgage you're selling, see if they think it can be transferred. And if so, use that as a marketing tool for your house to help you stand out. I think I've rambled on long enough for this month. I will see you next month, where we will hopefully have some better news in terms of the total volume of sales. For now, I'm Serge Papineau. If you have any questions, reach out to me. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that good stuff. See ya.